Hello and welcome to another book review. This is Michael Tassig's, I believe that's how you pronounce it. This is Michael Tassig's The Devil and Commodity Fetishism in South Africa. So this is one of my first reviews in a while, so I'm going to do my best, and I also found this first chapter very heavy, so just a warning, I may be quoting a lot and then attempting to explain my understanding of what's been said. So right from the offset, this chapter you sort of understand that I get the impression it's an introductory chapter. It's sort of setting the theoretical groundwork for what he's explaining, and it's very, very heavy. And in my personal opinion, it's a bit too complex. So if anyone is thinking of reading this and they're a bit worried that if it's slow to get into, they might not read much of it. I personally say skip the first chapter because it has taken some of us who've read it 3 hours to get through the first 10 pages, and that's not because we're stupid, that's because it's really confusing. So this book attempts to interpret what are, to us in the industrialized world, the exotic ideas of some rural people in Colombia and Bolivia concerning the meaning of capitalist relations of production and exchange. So there you go, right from the offset he's just sort of explained the direction in which this book's going. He wants to interpret and look at some of the exotic ideas of rural people in Colombia and Bolivia. Simple, sounds simple enough. Then he moves on to say that our experience and our so this is where he dives in. It gets quite theoretical. What he's saying is our experience and our understanding and basically our sense of reality is not natural but a social constructions. So this is he then uses the example of the Nuer to show this, and how the Nuer, Evans Pritchard said, the Nuer don't have a concept of time. They, not in the same way we do at least, they don't have the concept of wasting time, spending time, and time passes and saved. So he felt they were quite fortunate, but this is sort of showing how it's a poignant example of how our reality is formed by our understanding of the world around us. And he then hold on. So then he goes on to say about the natural appearance of such things has to be exposed as a social product that can itself determine reality. Okay, so he's basically saying what I just said there, I think, but it's just sort of, it's said in such a way that it's quite hard to get. And this is my understanding of it, and hopefully other people can discuss with me what they think if you've read this chapter, because it is really difficult, in my opinion, again. So he starts talking about ways of studying different societies. He talks about instead of asking why do people in foreign cultures respond in the way they do, we must ask for this question that why they have fantastic reactions to our non-fantastic reality. So I'm sorry, I don't actually understand that. It's just worded in such a way that it just leaves me blank. I'm sorry, we're going to have to skip that page. So So, because this is so confusing, I'm going to do my best to explain what I think the next few pages are about. I get the impression, based on my understanding of Marxist theory, a little bit of Marxist theory, not read any of Marx, but I get the impression that what he's doing is he's showing us that reality as we see it. There's a quote in here that I could find. Might actually be the next one. This is it. Sidney Hook's early interpretation. He says that the mind meets the world with a long historical development behind it, and what it sees, its selective reaction, the scope and manner of its attention, are all not merely as physical or biological fact, but as social fact as well. So, again, it's not a very clear quote, but the way I understood that is the way our understanding of reality is built is based on all of our historical and social interactions. So again, I think the idea he's trying to create is this idea that capitalism isn't natural, that there's lots of things we see as the natural order of things that are actually mental constructs. For instance, he mentions labour and this idea of labour forces and this idea we have. If I was to say, oh, I'm a day labourer, then I am, you'd understand based on your concepts. So what I think he's doing is he's introducing the idea that it's possible that these people who he's going to explain have different conceptions of the world, and I think this is what he was saying with why they have fantastic reactions to what we see as a fantastic world. So what sort of solidifies this for me is he then says, if there is an overall aim today that is both intellectually and morally commendable in the mission that is anthropology, the study of man, brackets, it is not only that the study of other societies reveals the way in which they are influenced by ours, but also that such investigations provide us with some critical leverage with which to assess and understand the sacrosanct and unconscious assumptions that are built into and emerge from our social forms. So again, I hope that makes sense to you, because what I think he's saying is these things help reveal the way that our society isn't necessarily natural and normal. And then he says it is with this clearly in mind that the following pages have been written concerning the view of nature and man revealed to us by these rural people in South America, who are now undergoing the travail of the proletariat. So again, I feel like this is very Marxist. It's very almost communist in the language he's using. The proletariat. They're becoming the proletariat. So he's saying that to keep this clearly in mind when we look at this society. So I really hope that this has helped some people, and I hope it's not confused too much of you. If you don't understand it, I'd say tackle the chapter. It's 12 pages long. I'm now going to read the next one, but it's a shame. If the author reads this, I would have preferred it if you said it in less words, because I feel like there's a lot of good content in there, but it just, the way it's phrased, it just leaves you like, I think I've got it, or have I? So I'd also really like to hear other people's opinions to see if they think I've got the right idea. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll be doing the next chapter soon. Goodbye.